Michael Young has played through pain all year, and with the Rangers in a fight to make the postseason, he's going to tough it out tonight. And going forward, apparently, that small fracture of one of his smaller fingers, a ring finger. But he's out there tonight. Ichiro must be policed, must be stopped somehow, some way. He's getting very close to rolling that odometer to 3,000 hits between the Japanese leagues and here in the U.S. It's Reed and Ibanez to follow Ichiro, Beltre, Lopez, and Lahair, Cairo, Burke, and Betancourt. And ladies and gentlemen, career base hit number 3,000 for Ichiro. That did not take long. It happens here tonight in Arlington. 99 degrees at game time, and they'll make sure that ball finds safe harbor in the Seattle dugout. There's a lot of interest back in Japan, obviously, Tag, about what just happened about 15 seconds ago.
Right, you know, it makes you ask the question, if Ichiro comes over and is a rookie, how do the hits in Japan even get lumped in to the hits that he's had in the big leagues? I think they should be. I also think it's almost an insult to call a Japanese player like Ichiro a rookie when he comes to the big leagues. He's already a star when he got here. Pretty amazing. 3,000 hits in that short time.
In the wee small hours back in Japan, they are now celebrating that accomplishment. They're awfully proud.
Well, they should.
Now, looking for career base hit number 127 is Jeremy Reed. That's not going to happen quite yet. That's a foul ball. And we'll tell you a bit about Luis Mendoza.
Well, the numbers don't look good. He's 2-4 with a 7.16 ERA. Last start here was against the White Sox. That was good. And that start showed signs of what the Rangers hope happens many times in the future. That was an excellent start. 3 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts against a very good team. He went against the White Sox in his last start in Chicago with 11 days rest and really wasn't sharp. He didn't have the same stuff in that game that he did against them here. Couldn't get his breaking ball over, couldn't get his changeup over, had to throw all sinkers, and he got hit a little bit. 9 hits, 6 runs in 4 innings. But it's there. He's still young, he's still learning, and if it all comes together for him, big strong kid could be a real force.
Hit and run, base hit for Reed. Ichiro got deked a little bit at second base. Now he turns it on, goes to third. Well, yesterday Seattle started very quickly, got the 3 runs in the first inning off Scott Feldman. They've begun tonight in track meet style, getting runners at the corners for Raul Ibanez.
Ichiro's running on that play. I don't think that was a hit and run, though. I think that was a straight steal, and Reed just happened to hit the ball into right field for a base hit.
Ibanez parked a home run yesterday. Seattle ended up with 4 home runs in that game, a 7-5 win for the M's. And pretty odd, Tag, because the Rangers, obviously known as being the team that hits home runs, Seattle has been challenged in that department the last few years, but the home run tote board yesterday was 4-0 Seattle.
Well, the Rangers came back a couple of times in that game to tie the score. They could never take the lead. They battled back, but just couldn't quite get there.
Rangers have been alternating 2 wins and 2 losses ever since the All-Star break. That means they're due for a win tonight and tomorrow, the way this has been going. The Rangers will face Carlos Silva tonight. Silva is 4-12. A very bloated ERA of 5.62. Hot shot, look out, it's deflected. Kinsler drops it, recovers, going to get 1 out there.
They got another out. Yeah, 1 out, no one scored on it. That was an amazing play. That was almost caught in the air, and they end up getting a force out at second base.
Now they're going to make sure that Mendoza's okay. Yeah, the way that all came down, I mean, depending on if Kinsler held the ball and who was paying attention, who wasn't, you had the shot of a triple play right there. He also had the very scary shot of Mendoza getting clobbered with that line drive.
Ichiro was a little ways off third, but there's no way Vasquez could have covered third base that quickly. And so there wasn't going to be a play at third base. Luckily, it went off his glove. His glove protected his face, fortunately. If he was able to catch it himself, I think he had a pretty good shot to double read off of first base. As it turned out, you're right. Thank goodness it didn't hit him. And on what was a bullet back through the middle, would have been a base hit, turned into an out.
Now a double play ball gets you out of the inning, and with Mendoza, and that sinker is really going. That's what he's getting, is ground ball. We were talking about that yesterday with Scott Feldman too. But among the guys that was a problem for Scott Feldman yesterday, you're looking at him, Adrian Beltre. 2 of those 18 home runs for the year were hit last night. He also made that big play at third base tag, blocking Ramon Vasquez from getting back. Vasquez getting picked off in the 8th inning kind of killed the rally. And Vasquez is playing third base with Hank Blaylock headed to the DL. Turns out the shoulder soreness has returned for Hank. I guess the Rangers initially were hoping just to hold him out one night. There's a hard ground ball. That's that double play you were just begging for if you're Luis Mendoza. He got it. Seattle had runners at the corners, nobody out, but they did not score. Rangers worked out of a tough spot in the top of the first, and now they're coming up against Carlos Silva in the bottom of inning 1. And the All-Stars will greet Carlos Silva, Kinsler, Young, Hamilton, and Bradley. He in 10 for his last 21. David Murphy, no slouch himself. He's got 66 runs batted in. Bird and Davis, Laird and Vasquez the rest of the way. And as for Carlos Silva, they gave him a lot of money. And it's not gone well. He is 4-12. Missed his last start with a sore lower back. There's the scouting report.
Well, he is 4-12 with a 5.62 ERA. They gave him $48 million for 4 years, and you're right, it hasn't gone well.
Beltre recovers. He throws out Ian Kinsler. The Rangers are going to say that Cairo was off the bag. It's been a very interesting, fast-paced start to this baseball game.
That's one of those, to the eye, it looked like it wasn't even close that he was off the bag. My guess is he was either on the bag or it was a lot closer than it looked. Beltre has a real strong arm, throws quickly, and boy, that's close. It's closer than it looked, but I think Ron might have a little bit of an argument. Let's see if he catches it while his foot is still on the bag. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Paul Nowert, the first base umpire.
That's close. That's close. We got slow motion replay. Paul doesn't quite have that same benefit. And if he was off, it was just slightly. And to the naked eye, it's really tough to tell.
A strike to Michael Young. Again, Michael jamming that ring finger yesterday. And I don't think it was out of bounds to suggest, as the Rangers did, that he'd miss some time. That's normally what happens. If you have a small fracture, any fracture at all of any finger, you're going to miss some time. Young takes a called third strike here, but the important thing for the Rangers and their perspective going forward, boy, they want Michael Young in the lineup, and Michael is in the lineup.
I think most importantly, Michael wants to be in the lineup. It'd be easy to take a week off with that. No one would say a word. But Michael takes a lot of pride in being able to play and being able to play every day. Earlier in the season, a while back, he was playing with a bad finger on his other hand. Not quite the same kind of injury. This one's more painful.
Well, since Michael's become essentially the everyday Shortstop for the Rangers. He's missed 2 games in a row, only 4 times. Hamilton crunching one to second base. Just a 7-pitch inning for Carlos Silva. The Rangers are done, and there is no score at the end of 1.
Check this little guy out. Is there a reason behind the hairstyle?
Ask my mom.
Your mom, okay. And the reason behind the hairstyle?
We are having Vacation Bible School at Trinity United Methodist Church in Denton, Texas this week.
Oh, so they give them a nice hairstyle like that, huh?
Yes, we do.
All right, well, very nice. It looks pretty good, pretty good. And Cheryl, you're celebrating a birthday. How young?
I'll be 14 today.
All right, 14. Okay, good. Big Ranger fan, of course.
Of course.
Your favorite player?
Michael Young.
There we go. How about a good? Let's go, Michael.
Let's go, Michael!
There we go. Very nice. All right, thanks, guys. Josh.
Michael not wanting to disappoint the Maybank fan base. He is in the lineup tonight despite that broken finger. Hank Blaylock heads to the DL with that shoulder soreness, and the Rangers have recalled Ryan Roberts to take his place. Now we're going to see Vasquez playing third base quite a bit, but Ryan Roberts, a guy that can play third, can play short, can play second, and apparently can visit a tattoo parlor.
Drove in 7 runs in an inning the other day. Had a grand slam and a 3-run homer in the same inning.
It's pretty good. 2 homers, 7 RBIs in an inning.
1 inning.
Out of L.D. Bell High School here locally, and a UT Arlington product.
It's got to be a thrill for Ryan.
Down the line, barely foul. Lopez trying to run a hit streak to 16 games in a row. Well, Hank Blaylock, also somewhat tattooed, placed on the 15-day DL. And yeah, that's why Ryan Roberts is here. Roberts has been in the big leagues before. Spent some time with the Blue Jays, both in 06 and 07.
There's a good sinker.
Yep, and there's Vasquez straightening up and throwing out a hot hitter.
If you swing at that pitch, that's about all you can do with it. And with 2 strikes, it looks like it's going to be about knee high, but then it sinks down below the strike zone. And the way it's sinking, it's almost impossible to get that ball up in the air.
Knee high, that would taste pretty good right now, matter of fact.
Remember knee high?
Great knee high. That was my big drink. Me and Radar O'Reilly, we like the
they
great
had orange
knee high.
Too, didn't they?
Absolutely.
I used to like the orange.
99 degrees here in North Texas, and getting some sort of liquid in you is probably a pretty good idea. The guys are all very cognizant of making sure the H2O is not in short supply. Mendoza running after it. Throws low, but Davis has got it, and that's it for Brian LaHare.
Well, Luis struggled, obviously, in the first inning. They hit 3 balls hard, but he got the hard hit ball to be a double play and get out of the inning. Now he's come back out in the second, made a couple of good sinkers, got a couple of ground ball outs quickly. And being able to get out of that first inning when he wasn't at the top of his game may have allowed him to come back out now and regain it and be in pretty good shape without any run scoring.
Remember, he had retired 7 straight Chicago White Sox heading into that ill-fated 4th inning last time out. I guess it's just harnessing that sinker, you know, I mean, being able to just keep throwing it as well as he sometimes does for only an inning or 2. We saw the one game also against Chicago where basically for 6 straight innings he was busting bats and breaking hearts. Line shot foul by Cairo.
And the other thing that he was doing in that game when he pitched well, and what he needs to do along with the sinker, is get his other pitches over. Against the White Sox, when he struck out 8, he got a lot of those strikeouts on his curveball. Second time around, 11 days later, and maybe it had something to do with the 11 days off at the All-Star break. He wasn't quite as sharp with his off-speed pitches, especially his curveball. He couldn't throw it for a strike. And it just made it a little bit easier for the hitters when that curveball wasn't working.
From Veracruz, Mexico, Luis Mendoza.
It was a good curveball. It wasn't a strike, but broke sharply and he kept it down.
Is there a credence tag to the fact that Seattle, because they're such an aggressive team by and large, that this is a kind of lineup maybe that is a little better for Luis to be facing?
I think it probably favors Luis. Yeah, if he's got the sinker working and he's throwing the ball a little bit out of the strike zone and they're a little bit aggressive, it's going to be hard to do much more than hit ground balls. But it still depends on the pitcher. Even though they may be a little bit aggressive, they don't walk very much. You still have to throw it close enough to make them be aggressive and swing at it. So you still have to be around the strike zone.
On 3-2 to Cairo. He got him.
That was a good sinker.
94 miles an hour, yeah. Zeros as we go to the bottom of the second inning here in Arlington.
Y hoy Mendoza contra Silva, el equipo de los marineros. Vamos a ver lo que sucede aquí en este momento. Silva no le ha ido bien en la temporada, 4 victorias y 2 derrotas. Vamos a ver lo que hace aquí. Le recordamos que esta transmisión la puede escuchar en español el día de hoy aquí en su canal 27. Ya sabe la clave. Agarre su control remoto, hágale como yo. Agarre su control remoto, busca en el botón del menú. Lo escucha después en el SAP con un servidor, Hereno Velas, desde el parque de pelota de árbitros. Así que vámonos con la acción aquí en el cierre del segundo episodio.
Thanks, Eleno. The SAP broadcast brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. The Rangers and Mariners tied 0-0. Bottom 2, Milton Bradley will lead it off. Then David Murphy against Carlos Silva. Line grabbing base hit, Milton Bradley. Ichiro's got to go get it out of the corner. Milton Bradley into second base, leading off the second inning with a double.
Well, Lopez hit a couple of balls down the third base line that looked like they were within a foot of being fair. That one Milton hit was right over the bag, right down the line for a double. Rangers went 1-2-3 in the first, but had a nice start here in the second.
Not a lot of first basemen can make that play right on the line. Mark Teixeira used to make that play, and I bring that up because Mark Teixeira is in the news tonight. He is no longer an Atlanta Brave. We're going to see him soon. There's a great play at second base. Lopez to Cairo. Bradley does go to third, but Murphy denied of what might have been an RBI.
Well, Lopez is an excellent fielder, and he made a beautiful play right there. Cairo made a nice scoop out of the dirt on Lopez's throw. And David, he's robbed of a base hit and a potential run batted in with no outs. He might have been held at third base, Milton. But good spot for Marlon Byrd to drive in a run right here.
And just to complete the thought on Mark Teixeira, the deal is done. He's a Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim. Byrd smokes it fair down that left field line. Bradley trotting in. Byrd on his way to second base. It's the Rangers 1 and Seattle 0. Well, the Rangers are just firing those bats here. A lot of first pitch swings, and they're going well here in the second inning.
Silva came into this season with a lifetime record of 55-46 and a pretty solid ERA, 4.31. Last year he had a solid year for the Twins. He was 13-14. His ERA was 4.19. But he has really struggled with Seattle this year. In fact, he had a 9-game losing streak over 12 starts, where his ERA was 7.5. He's come back and pitched pretty well in his last 2 starts.
Another first pitch swing. Rope. Byrd goes to third. Davis is out. Well, the Rangers, who are known for working the count, I would think part of what's in the scouting report tonight, Silva's a guy who's always around the plate. This is a guy that once had a 78-pitch complete game.
Well, since the start of 2004, he's walked 1.3 batters per 9 innings. That's the best in baseball. The lowest amount of walks per 9 innings. So he is going to throw strikes.
If the edict is swing at the first good one you get, well, the Rangers, they have not been shy about loading up early. Doesn't really give us a lot of time to break down the Mark Teixeira trade. We'll try to wedge that in. Casey Kochman and a minor league pitcher going the other way. And it's a rental, obviously, for the Angels, but for the next 2 months, they've got Mark Teixeira.
Well, the Braves made the trade for Tex because they thought they had a chance to win last year and this year. Didn't work out. They knew it. They cut their losses. And under the circumstances, they made a good trade because Casey Kotchman is a fine young first baseman. Doesn't have Texas power yet, but he's a very good defensive player. And knowing that they couldn't sign Tex and knowing all that they would get was draft choices, I think getting Kotchman was a good move. Doesn't make a lot of money. They've got him for several more years, and he can be part of their group of young players as they try to get back on top.
Tex still gets to wear the letter A on his hat, but he is heading to the West Coast. And with the Rangers and Angels playing 10 of the last 28 games of the year against each other, we are going to be reintroducing you to Mark Teixeira.
That's a great trade for Tex too. Get a chance to go to LA. Great chance to play in postseason. And remember what Carlos Beltran did when he got traded to Houston and had that big postseason. Ended up getting a huge contract from the Mets. And
yeah,
Tex is going to get a nice contract somewhere next year anyway, but it can be magnified by a strong finish and a good postseason.
Boy, there's a strong at bat for Gerald Laird. That ball just whistles out to center field. The Rangers with 2 on the board in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
They've hit every ball this inning hard. You talk about a pitcher facing 5 hitters and not fooling anybody. That's happened this inning. Every single ball's been hit right on the good part of the bat. This was the hardest hit ball of all of them. A sinker. He got a little bit out over the plate, came back, and Gerald smoked that ball. Nice 2-out RBI.
Interrupted by the stay on the DL, Gerald is 24 for his last 54. So hitting around 440. You can understand why teams in dire need of catching help at this trade deadline, they're starting to float that name Gerald Laird. I think the Rangers would have to be knocked over in a deal to give up. They know what they've got in Gerald Laird. They love what they've got. I can't imagine there's another organization tag that has as much depth at the catching position as the Rangers do.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Silva's pitched a couple of pretty good games against the Rangers this year. Doesn't have a lot to show for it, but he's had a couple of good starts against the Rangers. 1-0 in 2 starts, 13 innings, only 8 hits and 3 runs. He's a guy with average stuff that needs good command of his pitches. But if he comes out in this ballpark and doesn't have good command within the strike zone, he could really get hammered. And quick first inning, but it hasn't gone well for him in the 2nd inning. It's only 2 runs, but it's been 5 hard hit balls. Both outs were hard hit ground balls to second by Murphy and also by Chris Davis. He's gone to the off speed pitches against Ramon.
And it's been written about Silva, and I agree, Tag, that because he's so dependent on the defense making plays behind him, he's kind of a pitching amphibian, the first to be affected if something in his environment has changed. If you get some backup center fielder, an injured shortstop, the defense behind him can either give him a great outcome or a poor one, because there's so much in play off of Silva. Not a lot of walks, not a lot of strikeouts. He needs his defense to record basically 9 out of every 10 outs. Bob Tewksbury was a guy like that, and he did fine for many, many years. Ground ball near short. That's what we're talking about. Betancourt's outstanding defensively, but even he couldn't get to that. Ramon Vasquez puts it in play. The inning continues, 1st and 3rd now, and Kinsler coming up.
Yeah, you could have put 5 more defensive players on the field, given them 13, and they couldn't have stopped this inning. Not unless they just happen to play someone right down each line.
9 on 13, that doesn't seem right.
No, it's just not fair. That's the first ball this inning that wasn't hit right off the good part of the bat, but it still went for a base hit.
Kinsler, who was on base 4 times last night, coming up here. With runners in scoring position, Ian has kicked it up a notch. I mean, already he's leading the American League in batting average, 331. But 330 now with an 0 for 1 tonight. But with runners in scoring position, 435. Soft line drive to third will end the inning. The Rangers strand 2, but they score 2. And at the end of 2, they lead 2-0. Rangers have grabbed a 2-0 lead, and boy, the grabbing is starting to begin all around baseball now. The run at tradable commodities with the trade deadline now 2 days away. Mark Teixeira has been dealt from Atlanta to the Angels. And of all places to make his Angels debut, Tag, he's heading to Fenway Park. That's where the Angels are playing the Red Sox. You might remember Tex was a first-round pick of the Red Sox coming out of high school. At short, there's Michael Young. His throw's going to bounce, but Davis with the scoop.
Oh, that was some kind of scoop. That looked like Tex making that scoop. That wasn't one of the short hops that's easy to catch. That bounced quite a ways in front of him. And so to be able to scoop this ball, pretty nice play. And I'm sure Michael's going to have a little bit of problem with his throwing because of that fracture in his ring finger on his right hand. Even though you hold the ball most of the time with your first 2 fingers, that third finger still plays a major part in the throw. And it's probably going to take him a little while to get used to throwing with that kind of pain. He made the play, and Chris helped him out.
Now the other shortstop in this series, Yuniesky Betancourt. That on-base percentage only a dozen points higher than the batting average. It's the first tip off that he doesn't walk a lot. You mentioned it yesterday during the broadcast, Tom. The Mariners as a team, they don't really have walks high up in their game plan. At least it's not something they as a collective do very well. Whoa, right by Vasquez in left field. That'll go as an error on Ramon.
Betancourt definitely doesn't have it in his game. Betancourt's walked 6 times, 360 at bats.
Vasquez again in for Blaylock, who heads to the DL with a sore shoulder. Now Ichiro. He of the 3,000 career hits now between the majors and the Japanese leagues. Ichiro's gotten historic base hits against the Rangers before. Remember when he broke the all-time single season record for hits? That was against the Rangers and Ryan Drees. Ichiro usually very willing to take a first pitch just to gather information. He's okay with being behind in the count. Kind of sampling the product before he buys it. What a boon he has been to the Japanese travel agencies in Seattle. They used to sell Seattle as a home of the Space Needle and Mount Rainier. Now they pitch Seattle as home of Ichiro. We've told the stories about the magnitude of the scrutiny from the Japanese media. A couple spring trainings ago, a Japanese reporter approaching one of the Seattle coaches and wondering if there was a problem because today Ichiro took 15 fewer batting practice swings than yesterday.
Is he hurt?
No, just one less round in the cage is all.
Is he slacking off? Well, the Japanese in baseball, I talked to Bobby Valentine a lot, and they are known for an incredible work ethic. In fact, a lot of people from the U.S. would think that they go overboard, that it's actually counterproductive because of how much time they spend on the field. It's nothing for them in spring training to spend 4 or 5 hours on the field in the morning, come back and do something in the afternoon, and then come back at night after dinner and have a couple of hours like a football team of a chalk talk. And I think a lot of people would figure especially for the pitchers, that they actually do too much, and to stay strong over 162 games would be very difficult if you spent that much time working. They don't play as many games as we do, so the pitchers get a few more days rest than they would over here. That's one of the biggest thing that Matt Suzaka had to get used to, is pitching every 5 days rather than every sometimes 6 days and sometimes once a week.
One interesting final frontier that has not been crossed yet. I mean, we've now seen Japanese pitchers and outfielders and even catchers come over. What if you had one of those Japanese managers come over, take a team of American players, as you know, as opposed to Bobby Valentine being the American manager going to Japan? Betancourt down to second base. He was running, and that'll be a straight up steal for Betancourt. I wonder if that would ever fly, if that would ever work, Tag. If you had, let's say, the most successful Japanese manager coming here instead of the most successful Japanese player coming here.
I think if the Japanese manager tried to bring all the different ways that the Japanese play and practice the game and tried to introduce that to a major league team here, I don't see any possible way that would work.
Ichiro sends one to right near the track for Marlon Byrd. He's got it. Betancourt tags, goes to third.
I think it would be like taking a pitching staff that's used to pitching on 5 days rest and saying now you're going to pitch on 3 or 4 days rest. It's just years and years, decades and decades of baseball being played the way we play it, practiced the way we play it. Now, obviously, it's changed over the years, and physical conditioning and nutrition and everything has become part of the game. But to all of a sudden completely change the way that the game is played and practiced, for sure, and in spring training, I think would be difficult to do. I think it's a little bit easier for Bobby to go to Japan and hold them back a little bit,
right,
and give them a little bit more rest, even though he takes a lot of criticism for that. Even the players didn't want to do that. They felt like they weren't working hard enough. They wouldn't be as good. They wouldn't earn their money, and even that was not easy. But I think that's easier to do than the exact opposite would be over here.
Over to short, Michael Young takes care of business, and again Seattle threatens but doesn't score. Rangers on top 2-0. Michael Young, who's been an all-star hero 2 of the last 3 years, driving in the winning run in Pittsburgh and at Yankee Stadium. Going to take a strike here, 3-1. Rangers lead 2-0. On a night that Ichiro has made some history, 3,000 career base hits as a professional baseball player. There's a walk drawn by Michael Young, and again Silva doesn't walk too many, but
give him a 3-1 changeup. Threw it right straight into the dirt. That's his one walk.
Yeah. Well, it's funny with Ichiro commanding a lot of attention with Seattle, and Ichiro's a guy that obviously is not known for hitting home runs. The guy that has won the hearts of Ranger fans now at the plate, Josh Hamilton. He's been all about the long ball. Hits that one hard in the center. Rangers have 2 on, nobody out.
Some of these balls have been hit so hard that the outfielders have to go down on a knee just to make sure it doesn't get by him. Josh also lined out to second base for the last out of the first inning. Hit the ball hard. That one was hit well to center field.
Bradley roped a double last inning. Oh, and just to finish up on the thought too, Tag, about the differences between baseball here and baseball in Japan. Obviously Bobby Valentine has carved out a real nice career managing in Japan. Trey Hillman has come the other way. Kind of a big circle from Arlington to Japan, and now managing the Kansas City Royals. But I would have to imagine, whether you're a manager going there for the first time or a player going there for the first time, just little things that are so different. The bullpens being out of sight under the stadium, so opposing managers don't know who's warming up. You watch home plate umpires warming up before games. That doesn't happen here. Bradley, another hot shot, another base hit.
He's getting smoked, boy.
Yeah, Silva's not exactly dazzling anybody right now. David Murphy's coming up with the bases loaded. And it would be nice to see the Rangers just pull away tonight.
Milton stepped up there with a double and a single so far. Hit the ball hard. Not a terrible pitch, actually. Tailing away from him, down and away. Milton's a good hitter. You can make a real good pitch to him and still give up the rope. There's a lot of good hitters in the Ranger lineup, and that's true with a lot of them. If you come into this ballpark and you're an average pitcher to begin with, and you have below average stuff on that given night, it's generally going to be a long night.
Well, you got to go with Kinsler, Young, Hamilton, and Bradley just right out of the chute. 4 All-Stars. If you survive that patch, you get David Murphy, who's got 66 runs batted in. That's the same total Mike Hargrove had the year that he was Rookie of the Year, 1974. Inky's got the record, 88, back in 1986. David Murphy's got designs on that. Looks like Seattle's got designs on getting the bullpen going already.
Yeah, someone in Seattle right now has got to have designs on figuring out how they're going to get $36 million worth of performance out of Carlos Silva the next 3 years.
You better be a real good singer or something. Line shot foul. Boy.
I think that's almost as far as you can possibly pull a ball.
Ow. That's one of the gentlemen on hand to authenticate the 3,000th hit that Ichiro just got. You're going to have to authenticate that bruise, too.
Think of the angle that you had to hit that ball to pull it that far.
Right. This time a ground ball, second base. Lopez to Betancourt. Too late at first base. Fielder's choice RBI, David Murphy. Now he will get that Incaviglia record, it would appear, is at 67 runs batted in already.
That was one time where it was good that he didn't hit the ball as hard as many of the guys have been hitting it today, because it allowed him to beat it out. Keep a man at third base with 1 out, pick up an RBI, and set it up for Marlon Byrd to knock in another run. I mean, when you think about the angle that his bat had to be at to pull the ball over there, he had to make contact with the bat while it's almost pointing right straight at the pitcher.
Marlon Byrd hammers one left field. That ball is gone! 3-run shot, and the Rangers are pulling away early.
I've seen some guys get bombed in this ballpark, but this is right up there.
Love to see that Marlon Byrd smile. And the Rangers, who did not score in the first, they've made up for it with 2 in the second and 4 in the third. Well, Marlon, who's been struggling all year with runners in scoring position, at one point this year he was 2 for 33. He is 2 for 2 tonight, and that is going to do it for Carlos Silva.
That's 7 hits and 6 runs and 2 and a third, and it actually feels like it's been worse than that because of how hard some of the outs have been hit today.
Roy Corcoran is going to come on. The Mariners have seen enough of Silva, certainly tonight, if not this season. That is a contract signing that has not gone well. The Rangers lead by 6. Carlos Silva drummed out of the game after just 2 and a third. He gave up 6 runs, and now our call to the bullpen brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Here is Roy Corcoran. Rangers already up 6-0 tonight on Seattle, a team they lost to yesterday 7-5. Corcoran, a guy that was not yet going with Seattle when the Rangers faced the Mariners back in May. They say he's got some good off-speed stuff, and boy, you just saw an example right there. Davis behind 0-1.
That ball dropped a foot.
Marlon Byrd's 3-run home run as the Rangers out to this 6-0 lead. The Angels also leading 6-0 in Boston tonight. John Lackey will take a no-hitter into the 7th inning in that game. Davis nails one into right. Well, new pitcher, same result. Well, the Rangers may be venting some frustration from their inability to ever get a lead yesterday. Already 6 runs on 8 hits tonight. Laird had the RBI single last inning. Now facing Roy Corcoran. Not a big guy. It's 5'10", 170. Played a little bit at LSU. He's from Clinton, Louisiana.
He's a kid that's been a relief pitcher pretty much his whole minor league career. He only had 2 minor league starts. Good minor league numbers. They signed him as a minor league free agent. He has spent some time in the big leagues with Montreal and Washington, same organization.
Inside and hit Gerald Laird. And that's the fastball, not the off-speed stuff, and it got Gerald. Still the only out of the inning. That fielder's choice hit into by Murphy for an RBI.
That one just really got away from him. It hit Gerald right in the back, left side.
We mentioned the Angels are leading Boston. Detroit's got a 6-1 lead on Cleveland tonight. That game's in the 5th. Armando Galarraga on the mound for the Tigers tonight. The Tigers, I mean, if the Rangers are in the wild card race, you have to say the Tigers are in the wild card race too. They've got just about the same record. In fact, if the Tigers win tonight, they will have the same record as the Rangers.
One thing the Rangers have to do to really jump in the wild card race and really be in serious contention, they got to put a streak together. They really haven't done that this year. They've gotten their record up as high as 4 games over 500, but what they need to do from there is go on like a 7, 8, 9 game winning streak and jump really right in the middle of contention. They're kind of on the fringe right now. But I think because they haven't had that kind of streak, and generally every team, whether you're a good team or a bad team, has at least one streak like that this year, that you have to think it's there for the Rangers, and maybe it'll come right at the right time.
By mid-September, you want to be in that Boston, Minnesota, New York clump.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then anything can happen.
And that's what a 7, 8, or 9 game winning streak could do for you. Put you right there. But when you know, as time goes on with every game and you get into September, if you're 6 games out and there's several teams ahead of you who are only 1 or 2 games out, then it gets pretty difficult because you've got more than one team to chase.
A lot of times those teams will play each other too, so you can only catch one of them anyway.
Yeah.
Vasquez hits it up the middle, and the Rangers just keep rolling here. A throw to third base is going to be not in time. RBI hit for Vasquez, who's taken a couple up the middle just like that. It is 7-0 Texas.
And there's a little bit of a test for Gerald Laird, because Reed came up firing to third base. Gerald going first to third. Coming back from a hamstring injury. Looks like everything's feeling good.
Corcoran almost got it, and then Lopez almost got it. That's 2 right up the middle for Vasquez tonight. Outside corner to Kinsler. Well, Ramon Vasquez has obviously lost playing time because Hank Blaylock came back. But now that Hank is on the DL again, well, Ramon, who's, well, rested anyway for the last week and a half. Chance to keep on coming. Kinsler grounds to Betancourt. And a 6-4-3 DP. Kinsler 0 for 3 the first 3 innings. But no worries. His teammates are doing fine. It is 7-0 Rangers at the end of 3. Rangers by 7. We go to the 4th. We go to Jim Knox.
All right, hey, thanks, Josh. Hey, remember this guy? It's Big Tex, back at the ballpark. Season ticket holder since 1989. But, you know, moved to Abilene, but now he moved back. How's it going, Big Tex?
Oh, man, I'm loving it, especially right now, Jim. I had to be here.
Had to be here. Now, we understand you always wear 94. The reason behind that?
Yeah, I was telling you, I'm also a nurse, and Tom and I have talked before. I'm a nurse and I take care of pediatric kids at home on ventilators and special needs kids. And, you know, Tom probably remembers the old ballpark didn't have the handicap seating that it does here. It's all the way around. I campaigned for that, kind of wrote in and requested that and petitioned for that. And now this ballpark is handicap accessible all the way around the park. So I wear 94 for that because when the ballpark opened.
All right. You got to go ahead and set up real quick. Let's check out the getup. Got the chaps, got the fake gun, got the megaphone. This works, doesn't it? Go ahead and say something.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
All right, Jim, get a hit, get a hit.
There we go. And also an entourage. Who do we have here?
Okay, we got Scotty, my friend from Abilene.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the one we're not interested in. Okay, go ahead.
Megan, Laura, Amanda, Marcy, Danica, Lauren, and Lauren.
All right. See, you hang around Big Tex. What do you think about Big Tex, huh?
Oh, we love it!
See, Big Tex has an entourage. You dress like this, Josh and Tom, that's what you get. All right, thanks, Big Tex.
Tom, I want to tell you, I'm so proud everything went well, and I was praying for you and glad you're back.
There we go. All right, Big Tex,
Thank
good
you,
to see you. Thanks.
Tex is a great Ranger fan, and he's a great guy, too. You can tell by listening to him.
And how about the entourage?
And I've always liked Tex, and I've always been impressed, but he took it to a new level tonight.
Yeah. One down as Ibanez flies out. Now, what section was Jim in again?
People are going to want to know more about Tex after tonight.
Beltre, who had a couple of home runs yesterday. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to him. Well, Big Tex and the Texettes. And I mean, you come to the ballpark now. I mean, Charlie Pride is here a lot. Of course, Nolan Ryan is sitting out here watching ball games as the team president. You're here.
Yeah. Your point is?
Jim Knox is here. No, there's celebrities all over the place. Now the fans are starting to make those homemade signs and bring them out. There's a pretty nice vibe happening here at the ballpark these days. I'm not just saying that because of the entourage. Here's Beltre lifting one towards center.
Yeah, the other side of it is I think it's been a long time since it's been this much fun to watch a Ranger team play.
Well, I think it starts right at the top of the order. I mean, that Kinsler and Young dynamic. A lot of people have identified with that. You got the power. A couple of guys that felt like, you know, maybe they had something to prove this year. Hamilton and Bradley. Everybody likes Crush Davis. Longview's very own.
I think Ranger fans, and I think all baseball fans, really appreciate the home team when they draft and develop their own young players. And that's one thing that the Rangers are doing right now. So you've got an excellent young nucleus at the big league level and a lot of good young players in the minor leagues. And every time someone like Chris comes up and plays like he's playing right now, then you get to see exactly what people have been talking about. All the kids are, when they're in the minor leagues, is prospects. They become real people when you watch them come up to the big leagues. And when they play like Chris, it gives you hope that there's a lot more on the way. And I think that's the case with the Rangers. Everything's headed in the right direction. That's fun for Ranger fans to come out and watch.
That's really true. I mean, because it works the other way. I don't think there's anything more demoralizing to a fan base when you're told, hey, don't think for a minute it's not going to change when player X gets here, you know, and It'll all be good when player X gets here. Then player X arrives and he's just not that great. It's deflating. Chris Davis comes up, hits 10 home runs in his first 24 big league ball games. That is the opposite of deflating. That kind of puts a lot of stock in that minor league system in the first place.
Well, not every young player, no matter how highly touted they are, will come up and be stars in the big leagues. But the point is, the more that you have in the minor leagues, the better chance you've got of having some of them come up and be star players. If you've only got a couple of prospects, then the odds are not in your favor. But if you've got depth in your farm system, which the Rangers have developed, it's not critical that every single one of them live up to their potential and become stars. You hope that they do, but the reality is that's not going to happen. So the more that you have, the more that will eventually get to the big leagues and play really well. And that's why the last season and the season before it and the draft this year has been so important to the franchise, because it has increased the depth of top prospects in the organization. You know from past history and reality that every single one of them won't develop into exactly what the scouts hope that they will. That's just the nature of scouting, the nature of player development.
Oh, and yeah, and not every scratch-off lottery ticket is going to be a winner, but the more lottery tickets you have in your hand, the more you get to scratch it off. Yeah, eventually one or two of them might hit for you. Chop ball towards third. Vasquez, tough play, bare hand pickup, too late. Nice stretch by Davis too, but all of a sudden from out of nowhere, 3 singles with 2 outs. Seattle's got the bases loaded. Lopez, LaHare, and Cairo reaching base.
He just beat that sinker right into the ground.
Mendoza's got the comfort of pitching with a 7-run lead right now. Jamie Burke, the backup catcher, getting a chance to play tonight. We've talked about Crush Davis over at first for the Rangers. This guy's basically Crash Davis. Burke, a guy that played years and years of minor league ball, including a year with the Rangers at AAA. But last year, a full season with Seattle as Kenji Jojen was back up. He was a 300 hitter last year. .4,500 minor league at bats, though, before finally last year he had that shot to do something in the big leagues. Rangers with 2 in the second, 5 in the third. Trying to keep Seattle off the board here in the fourth. Another one right off the plate. Tough play for Vasquez. One more time. He'll fire. It gets away. That means 2 runs are going to score.
That's amazing that 2 balls like that would be hit back to back. 2 really good sinkers beat right into the ground. That'll go as a hit and an error.
Yep, Mark Connor's going to go to the mound here just to settle down Mendoza. Second error on Vasquez tonight.
Probably should have held on to that ball. I don't think he had, even though it was catcher running, I don't think he had much of a chance to get him.
By the way, updating from Fenway, the John Lackey no-hitter will go into the 8th inning. Angels 6, Red Sox nothing. Here's Yuniesky Betancourt. He reached on the Vasquez error last inning. Tampa Bay's got a 3-zip lead on Toronto tonight. And the Yankees again are getting creamed by Baltimore. That happened yesterday at Yankee Stadium too. It is 6-1 Baltimore tonight. Hard hit, base hit. 1 run is in. They're going to hold Burke at third. Now the Mariners, who remember had 2 out and nobody on. That's 5 straight base runners now. Ichiro's coming up. Runners at the corner, 7-3. Shades of that game in Chicago, unfortunately, for Luis Mendoza tag, where he just sailed through it in the 2nd inning and the 3rd inning and had all kinds of problems in the 4th.
I think the difference is, though, he wasn't making good pitches in Chicago, and they were taking advantage of that. Today, he's making good pitches. The last 3 hitters, Cairo and Burke, both beat really good sinkers into the ground and just topped them down the 3rd baseline for infield hits. And that ball that Betancourt just hit jammed him. He just happened to hit it between short and 3rd for a soft single to left field. So as long as he keeps making the same pitches, eventually his fortune will change. But he's throwing the ball fine.
Ichiro pegs it, but Davis has got it. Wonderful play to get Mendoza off the mound and back in the dugout. That's worthy of that red foam finger treatment when he gets in there. Thank you.
After the last 3 hits, Luis deserved to have a hard hit ball caught.
Davis did catch it, made the play. It's 7-3. Appropriately, the Seattle Mariners, the opponent, as we're talking coffee in Starbucks. Rangers will go to Seattle again in September, and it seems like there's a Starbucks about every block, maybe block and a half downtown.
There's a Starbucks right in our hotel.
I'll wait for them to open a Starbucks inside another Starbucks. The strike on the outside to Michael Young. "7-3 ball game. The Rangers scored the first 7. The Mariners just came back with 3 in the top of the 4th. Rangers have already chased away Carlos Silva tonight. Michael Young swings and cannot get it. He's the first out here in the 4th inning.
Well, there's not much doubt that that finger's still affecting, not still, but is affecting Michael. It's just going to be a matter of whether he can take the pain. You could tell the way he let go of the bat that time, and I'm sure it hurts more when you swing and miss like that. Try to hang on to the bat with your right hand.
Josh Hamilton, line shot left field. That's a couple to the opposite field tonight. Those new to the Josh Hamilton program, I mean, if you just watch the home run derby and he was just yanking those baseballs into the right field bleachers. No, he's not just a pull hitter, not by any stretch. A lot of line drives to left this year. He is a .303 hitter for the season.
He's hit the ball hard all 3 times. One out that he made was a line drive to second base.
Milton Bradley 2 hits tonight. First in the league in on-base percentage. Looks like he and A-Rod will go toe-to-toe for first in the league in slugging percentage. Another hot shot.
Seen that one before.
Right over the chalk one more time. Hamilton racing around. Bradley has doubled again.
Milton has just stepped up to the plate and ripped every pitch he's seen tonight. Double, single, double.
Michael Young struck out, but then Hamilton and Bradley had his back.
Rangers gave up 3 and have one of them back in a hurry.
Oh, we've said it before. It's not enviable. Talking about an opposing pitcher having to face Kinsler, Young, Hamilton, and Bradley. That is not to slight the guy at the plate now. David Murphy, an RBI tonight. 67 now for the season.
Yeah, you may navigate through 1 or 2 of the first 4, but trying to navigate through all 4 of them is very difficult. Tonight, Mariner pitching has handled Ian okay. He's 0 for 3. Michael's 0 for 2, but Josh and Milton have 5 hits, have scored 3 runs. Milton's knocked in a run.
It has got to be just a mental and physical whipping for a pitcher. You know, it's 99 degrees. You pick up the stat sheet and you see the Rangers have the best overall batting average in baseball, have the most runs scored. All right, who's playing tonight? Well, Kinsler. He's leading the league in hitting and runs scored. Who's after that? Well, Michael Young, 5-time All-Star. Who's after that? Well, Josh Hamilton, the star of the home run derby. Then comes Bradley and Murphy. Murphy again to second base. Short hopped by Lopez. Out number 2. And then if you breathe on the other side of all that, all right, well, I'm done with Murphy. Well, here comes Marlon Byrd, who's got 4 runs batted in 3 innings tonight. Outfield, another position where the Rangers have depth, not just up here, but you know, we see him every game now tagged to kind of steer towards a Nelson Cruz update because the numbers are just so tough to ignore. He's hitting .350, 37 home runs. He's up to 96 runs batted in. He has stolen 24 bases.
Well, if he stays there the rest of the year, he has a chance to put up one of the greatest minor league seasons in a long time.
He could be a 50-40 guy. Be the charter member of that club. Again, it's a nice position for the Rangers to be in. You can bring him up here at some point. You can dangle him as trade bait. Gerald Laird has called him the Pacific Coast League Babe Ruth. But as well as Marlon Byrd, for example, is swinging the bat right now. I mean, you do have to sit somebody to play Nelson Cruz. Marlon doesn't want to give up the gig. You've already got Brandon Boggs up here. Every time the Rangers put Boggs in the game, seems like he does something. Outside. And now Chris Davis will have a shot to add to the Ranger lead. Tag updating from Fenway. The John Lackey no-hitter is intact into the 9th.
Wow.
So we will track that for you. The Angels, who just acquired Mark Teixeira today, might end up with a no-hitter as well today. 6-0 is their lead.
Well, if there's any doubt who the best team in baseball is, I think the Angels have pretty much eliminated that the way they've dominated the Red Sox. They swept them in Anaheim. I'm assuming they'll hold on to this one today, which will be the first 2 games in Fenway. They would have beaten the Red Sox 5 straight times and have the best record in baseball. Just made a trade for another offensive player. Have probably as good a starting pitching staff as anyone in baseball. When you look down the road, I have to say that they're the team to beat.
Rangers have battled the Angels well this year. They had that exhausting 4-game series earlier this month. And as well as the Rangers played, they managed only a split.
Well, that's better than the Red Sox did.
Yeah. Jacoby Ellsbury will be leading off against John Lackey in that bottom of the 9th inning. Lackey, as you might know, an Abilene native, lives here in the Metroplex during the offseason.
Well, John didn't have his best day against the Rangers. In fact, what did he give up? 15 hits to the Rangers?
A 15-hitter earlier this month. He could have a no-hitter tonight.
He didn't have his good stuff against the Rangers. Sure sounds like he does tonight, though.
Roy Corcoran, the man on the mound for Seattle, brings the 1-2. Davis hits another one near first. This time Cairo's got it. And that'll do it for the Rangers. They do add a run. And they've got the lead on Seattle tonight. It's a 5-run lead, 8-3. Rangers 8 and Seattle 3 as we get to the 5th inning. John Lackey had that no-hitter going. We say had. It just got broken up by Dustin Pedroia in the 9th inning. Ian Kinsler's former college teammate, all-star teammate. It's not bad, though. No hitting the Red Sox for 8 1/3 at Fenway. John Lackey did that. Now we understand Kevin Euclid has just homered, so it's now 6-2 in the bottom of the 9th. Anyway, right here it's 8-3, and Luis Mendoza needs to get through this 5th inning to qualify for a victory tonight. Not a no-hitter, but a 7-hitter for Mendoza. But he's been backed by plenty of Ranger offense. Hamilton tears after this one in left center field. Lunging. Nice play, Josh Hamilton.
They got fooled by it just a little bit. He cut over and then had to adjust and go back. But with his athletic ability and his speed, no problem. Nice play. Kind of comes over this way and then has to go back for it, but he was able to do it.
How many guys that are 6'4", 235 make that play, do you figure?
Well, how many guys that are 6'4", 235 are playing center field? There's your answer right there. 0.
Off speed, missing to Ibanez. Hot trade rumors about Ibanez maybe becoming a New York Met. Mets are undecided on the health of Ryan Church. I guess they can't quite bank on the fact that he's going to be their guy going forward this year.
If I were a contender and I needed a hitter, I would definitely take Ibanez. This guy's a good hitter. Good, solid player. Goes about his business professionally, quietly. Solid 280, 290 hitter. He's going to knock in 100 runs, hit 25 home runs year after year. Well, if you could acquire him and you needed a hitter, you're going to have to give something up to get him, though. That's always the other side of it.
Down and outside, Ibanez out of Miami-Dade Community College. Steve Carlton, Mike Piazza, Mickey Rivers all spent time there too. Last year, Ibanez, kind of a weird year. It took him forever to find his power stroke. But the last couple months of the season, he just surged. He ended up with 105 runs batted in. You'll never know it was a down year for him for a while last year when you look at the final product. 291 a hitter last year. And this year, he's got a shot to be around that again. 21 homers last year, 100 runs batted in. And again, he's edging towards a total like that in 08. Mendoza is going to paddle it and then drop it. That's too bad. That was right there for him twice. It could well be the third Ranger error of the night. Either with the glove or with the bare hand. Could have made that play, but went 0 for 2.
I think he had a lot more time, and all he had to do is kind of slow it down, concentrate, make the catch, and make the flip, and it was a pretty easy play. But everything speeds up when you're in the middle of a play like that.
Beltre, ground ball. Vasquez to Kinsler. They'll take that out there. Beltre moves pretty well. Fields his position very well too. We've talked about him quite a bit in this series. He's another guy that's being rumored to be going somewhere else, but I guess that's just coming with the territory, right? Seattle's 25 games under 500.
Yeah, and I'm sure Seattle would be in the market to make some trades, but they're not going to give their players away. I think if they can make trades that not only are sensible now, but also real sensible for the future, they'd have to consider that.
Lopez with that single last inning now has a 16-game hitting streak. The Rangers have middle infielders who have blown by that this year. Michael Young and Ian Kinsler. They both had hit streaks in the 20s this season. Another quality sinker. You're seeing a lot of ground balls foul over that way. Rangers have scored in every inning except the first tonight, leading 8-3. Another ground ball. Sounded like a broken bat too. Yeah. And quickly tag while we have a chance. Some other scores we haven't quite hit on tonight. National League, the Cardinals leading in Atlanta 3-2. Albert Pujols is homered. St. Louis hangs in the race in the NL Central. Cubs have a 4-0 lead in Milwaukee tonight. Those two teams played a terrific ball game yesterday. Cubs ended up winning by 1. Phillies on top of Washington 2-1 late. They're in the 9th inning. Chase Utley's home run the difference. Mets leading Florida 2-1 at the end of 7. Runner goes, 3-2 pitch. Another foul down near third. Mendoza keeps driving that sinker in on the hands of Lopez. He just keeps on fouling it down near the third base area. Again, the payoff pitch. This time fouled to the right. We're talking about the Mets and the Phillies and the Marlins tag. That's one of the great races going right now. Those three teams within a game of each other in the NL East. Atlanta 7.5 back. Trading Mark Teixeira today. Casey Kochman and a minor league pitcher going the other way. Way up there. Looking up into this big, beautiful Texas sky, there is Gerald Laird making the catch to get the Rangers back and ready to hit now. They've been doing plenty of that. Leading 8-3. I know it's a little warm and everything, but boy, what a nice looking night for baseball here in Arlington tonight. Josh Lewin along with Tom Grieve and Jim Knox and our entire broadcast unit, bringing you the pictures and the sounds of an 8-3 Ranger lead right now. Gerald Laird at the plate. Rangers trying to get back to 3 games over 500. and trying to stake their claim for being among the suitors for that wild card in the American League. Laird punching one to right. That ball taking off. Ichiro's got to play it off the bottom of the wall. Laird on his way to second base. Head first. He's safe.
Well, if there's any doubt about Gerald's leg, I think he's satisfied it tonight. He went first to third and had to slide into third ahead of Reed's throw from center field, and that ball got back to Ichiro in a hurry, and Gerald had to go head first into second base to get this double. He might be a little tired, but it looks like his leg's okay.
The Rangers having to put Hank Blaylock back on the DL today. But Laird has come off the DL. Michael Young avoids the DL. There was that scare yesterday when Michael suffered the fractured ring finger. And again, the Rangers have recalled Ryan Roberts. He is here and active and available if the Rangers need him. Former UT Arlington Maverick. Vasquez for a third time tonight is going to single into center field. Laird huffing and puffing and coming on around to make it 9-3 Texas.
That's more running than he's had to do in a long time. 3 hits for Vasquez tonight.
Been a weird night for Ramon. He's made 2 errors as well. But 3 hits, trumping 2 errors. And the Rangers,
in a couple too.
Yeah, the Rangers lead by a half a dozen now. The other part of a weird night for the Rangers. Here they are tagged 9 runs on 13 hits already. Kinsler is 0 for 3. It's the league's leading hitter. Ian working on 5 consecutive multi-hit games. That 0 for 20 slump he had coming out of the All-Star break just seems like a bad dream, like it never really happened. On the ground sharply, right past Betancourt. Normally, a guy that makes that play, but it's sped by him, and the Rangers have 2 on, nobody out. Ian hit into a double play, hitting the ball to Betancourt in the third. You thought that might happen again here. It did not. That'll be an error. The next contestant is Michael Young. Michael has not put the ball in play yet tonight, but again with that fractured ring finger, as long as the Rangers are winning 9-3, I'd suggest that's not the worst thing in the world not to make a lot of contact for Michael Young tonight. Oh, 0-2. 72 hits to go for Michael to get to 200 again. Rangers have 55 games left. Got him.
You know, if you've got a finger on your right hand that hurts, if it's your first finger, it's pretty easy to hold down off the bat so that you don't even feel it. You can almost hold your middle finger off the bat, at least to a certain degree, but the ring finger, there's no way you can keep that finger off the bat. That has to hold the bat, and you have to have a grip with it, and you have to squeeze it as you go to make contact with the ball. There's not much you can do to protect that finger, and when you're in pain, it makes it very difficult to swing the bat and make contact. And I think Michael's going to have to learn to play with that. Hopefully, each day it'll get a little bit better. But taking batting practice and swinging is going to make it hard for that to get better quickly. And hopefully it'll get to the point where he feels comfortable swinging, but I think it's pretty obvious that it's bothering him tonight.
Ball and a strike to Hamilton. I'm putting in the call for Josh, by the way.
All right.
3 of his last 4 home runs have been 3-run shots. He's got a chance for a 3-run home run right here. Already leading the league in RBI by 24. Off the plate, 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's confidence in your guy, by the way, when it's 0-2 and you put in the call. But when you're feeling it, you're feeling it.
You sure you didn't just look up there and say saw 2 and thought it was 2-0?
No, I was on it.
That is all right. That's confidence. It'd be the call of the year if you're right. Although it is Josh.
Well, yeah, it's not like I'm saying Dwayne Kuiper's going to hit one out.
He hit a home run one time.
One time, off our good friend Steve Stone. Not that Kuiper ever let Stoney forget that. But line shot at old Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Had to be right down the right field line.
Into the second row.
Oh.
Second row, that's right.
You got all of it then.
Not the first row. Ground ball, not the fly ball. Corcoran over to cover. Hamilton sliding in there, and he's out. Runners advance to second and third. First time we've seen Josh go in sliding to first
what he
base.
might have been doing there is just making sure he avoided contact with the pitcher. You know, you can't tell as a runner if the pitcher crosses the line, you're going to run right into him. I'm not so sure that Josh didn't slide just to make sure that he avoided that kind of collision.
That brings up Milton Bradley, who's been just lining baseballs down near first all night tonight. First baseman Miguel Cairo has got to be thinking, okay, please, not again.
Either that or move over a little bit.
2 doubles that have coughed up chalk for Milton Bradley tonight. Rangers have fallen off that what was a record-setting doubles pace. But they are still among the major league best in doubles this year. Milton's got 2 tonight. That one inside, backing him away. Milton, at this time last year, was getting dealt from Oakland to San Diego. I'm very happy that this year, as of right now, he is still a Ranger. Having a career season in Ranger blue. Chop ball, Betancourt's got it. First time Bradley's been out tonight. Rangers tack on 1 more, and at the end of 5, they lead 9-3. Fergie Jenkins, the king of the complete game, is a Ranger. You don't figure Luis Mendoza will be logging his first career complete game tonight. He's at 78 pitches through 5 innings. But what he's got is a 9-3 lead. He's facing Brian LaHare. He's getting a ground ball. Kinsler couldn't get it. Well, there are some baseballs that are escaping fielders tonight at a pretty good clip. That's going to go as a base hit. But a ball on which Ian would like a do-over, I'm sure. LaHare, who is DHing tonight, reaching base for the second time. That brings up Miguel Cairo, guy that goes back to the 1997 Cubs with the current manager of these Seattle Mariners, Jim Riggleman. Cairo was being groomed as the heir apparent to Ryne Sandberg that year. That never really ended up happening, but it was an interesting time in Chicago for Jim Riggleman. The end of the Ryne Sandberg era and the burgeoning Sammy Sosa era at that time. Cairo just kind of spins one into right field. It's 2 on, nobody out.
And Cairo's got a couple of hits on pitches that were pretty much out of the strike zone. He beat that one sinker into the ground in the 4th inning for the chopper down the 3rd baseline. That ball is down and away and out of the strike zone, and somehow he slapped that ball into right field. Not very hard, but for a base hit.
Now the sinker gets ground balls. Ground balls can get double plays. That's the order of business here with the slow-moving catcher. Jamie Burke is the hitter. The Rangers have turned the most double plays in baseball. Of course, the cynics are always quick to point out that, yeah, well, they've given up the most base runners in baseball, so logic dictates you're going to turn some double plays, but you actually have to have the talent to turn them. That ball getting away, and now forget about the double play. We've been treated all year to Kinsler and Young up the middle, turning double plays. It's going to be a wild pitch here. And Jamie Wright getting ready in the Ranger bullpen.
The Mariners had some soft singles in the 4th inning when they bunched 5 of them in a row. A couple infield hits and a soft ball into the outfield. A couple of ground balls to start this inning that weren't hit particularly hard. That's one of the perils, though, of being a sinker ball pitcher. You're going to give up a lot of balls in play and a lot of ground balls, and some of them are just going to find holes.
Yeah, no hitters don't usually get thrown by sinker ballers.
Not unless they've got a strikeout pitch to go along with it.
Well, Kevin Brown was the guy that authored a no-hitter. He had one of the more devastating sinkers that passed through this ballpark.
And Kevin also had a way above average slider, and then eventually a pretty good splitter to go along with it. Derek Lowe threw a no-hitter. Good sinker ball pitcher, but with a real good curveball to go along with it.
Well, a 2-2 gets away and hits Jamie Burke.
That's not a good sign right there.
No. Mark Connor out to the mound. You got Betancourt coming up. The Mariners have not hit well with runners in scoring position this year. They're worst in the league. Minnesota's at the other end of that spectrum. The Twins, of course, have really thrived by getting hits when they matter. Seattle very much the opposite at .233 for the batting average. Worst in the league by 11. And by the way, Minnesota has stormed back to take a lead against Chicago tonight. Tag 5 in the 5th inning for the Twins. That's
Twins are only a game and a half behind the White Sox.
Yep, Glenn Perkins on the mound for them tonight.
Good night for Tampa Bay. Matt Garza went into Toronto, and Tampa Bay shut out Roy Halladay and the Blue Jays 3-0. Yankees are losing. The Red Sox have already lost.
It's the first career shutout for Garza. 3-0 final. Betancourt, shallow fly ball. Hamilton's got it. He'll step and fire. Whoa, takes a big hop off the mound, but they weren't running with LaHare off at third. Ichiro will come up with the bases loaded, 1 out. Betancourt was not about to attempt to draw the bases loaded walk. You mentioned it earlier. He's walked only 6 times all year.
Yeah, he may take a pitch every now and then, but ultimately he's going to swing. Josh's ball offline by quite a bit, but third base coach doesn't know where the ball's going to end up. And down by 6 runs with Ichiro coming up, you don't want to see a runner thrown out at the plate. And it looks like Ron Washington has a guy ready in the bullpen, going to make a change right here.
Yep, we got another sinker baller good to go. Jamie Wright to face Ichiro in a 9-3 game. So as an overall body of work, maybe not the best stuff we've ever seen from Luis Mendoza, but hey, he leaves the mound up by 6 runs.
He gave up 9 hits, but there was some balls that weren't really hit all that hard. A couple of infield hits, a couple of slow ground balls through the infield. So overall, bounced back well from that start in Chicago. Has a chance to get a win.
We'll come back, tell you about Jamie Wright after this on My 27. Rangers making a call to the bullpen, brought to you by Time Warner. Jamie Wright will inherit a tough situation here in that the bases are loaded. There's only one out, and Ichiro is coming up. But the good news, Tag, is the Rangers lead 9-3.
Yeah, nice to have that little cushion. Jamie's done a nice job for the Rangers this year. Another sinker ball pitcher, another chance to get a ground ball. A little tougher to double up Ichiro than it is most of them. And depending on what happens in this inning, it could be a line that doesn't look that good for Luis, depending on what Seattle does in this inning. Those are his 3 runs out there. But he threw the ball well tonight. He had a good sinker, a little bit better curveball tonight.
The one-name superstar, Ichiro. You couldn't get away with that, could you? Just Tom on the back of your jersey like that?
Too many Toms.
Yeah.
Not many Ichiros, but there's a lot of Toms.
Not the first player to wear the first name on the back of the jersey. Charlie Finley's swinging mid-70s A's had a lot of that. Mudcat Grant wore Mudcat instead of Grant for a year. Vida Blue wore VIDA on his back. For a stretch, Dick Allen wore his hometown on his back, Wampum, for Wampum, Pennsylvania. That lasted a couple of weeks. But nobody could beat Ted Turner when he had Andy Messersmith, and the WTBS was Channel 17. Well, Andy Messersmith was given uniform number 17, so they just put Channel on top of 17 instead of Messersmith. He was a walking billboard. Ground ball from Ichiro, base hit into center. Well, you got the ground ball, but unfortunately it wasn't at anybody. So now it is 9-4. Career base hit number 3001 professionally for Ichiro. Only RBI number 26 this year. The desired result of the ground ball, but the fact that it found center field, that right there was the problem. Take 2 with Jeremy Reed. And Wright deals a strike. Cardinals have opened up their lead on Atlanta to 5-2. That game in the 9th inning. Cardinals will gain on somebody if they win, because Milwaukee's playing Chicago. Right now the Cubs a 6-0 lead on the Brewers behind Carlos Zambrano. Off speed outside, 2-1. The Phillies have hung on. They beat the Washington Nationals tonight 2-1. And the Mets leading Florida 4-1. So looks like the Mets will stay a half a game up on the Phillies, go to 2 up on Florida. That's a ground ball, more like at somebody. 6-4, but on to first base, it gets away. And with that, another run charging to the plate. Well, that's a shame. It was going to be tough to turn 2. You were happy to get the 1, but boy, when that ball bounced away from Davis, all of a sudden you're looking at a 9-6 ball game.
Yeah, that's one that probably should have been held on to, because Reed runs pretty well. The ball wasn't hit hard, and there really wasn't much of a chance to get the runner at first base.
Davis, who's made a couple of nice picks tonight, that ball just could not get the friendly hop. That'll be the 4th Ranger error of the night. And it's bizarre to think about it in these terms, but here's the tying man on deck. The Rangers had a very comfortable 9-3 lead going into the top of this inning. The batter, Raul Ibanez, and he will take down and in. Again, right in for Luis Mendoza here in the 6th inning. The Rangers chase the Seattle starter Carlos Silva after just 2 1/3. Houston's got a lead tonight, 6-1 on Cincinnati. Carlos Lee, home run number 24. Arizona's at San Diego tonight. San Francisco's at the Dodgers tonight. Right now in that NL West, 53 and 52 is first place. That's Arizona, a game up on the Dodgers. And it's crazy, but Colorado's only 6 games out. They've won 9 of 11. Even though they're 11 games under 500, they're only 6 games out of first. That's a tough call, I think, if you're the hierarchy of the Rockies. You've got a very tradable commodity in Matt Holliday. But if you're only 6 games out of first, do you trade Holliday?
Probably complicated by the fact that they finished like they did last year to sneak into postseason play.
Runner going, that's ball 4. Tying man coming up. Yeah, if any of the wise guys say, what do you think, you're going to win like 22 out of 23? The answer is yes, because that happened last year.
Chances of doing that 2 years in a row aren't real good, and I think you have to be realistic when it comes to the future of the franchise. And if there's a deal to be made that really makes sense for the future, then I think you have to consider that. Not trying to tell Colorado how to run their business, but I think it all depends on what you're offered. Same old story in a trade. A lot of people look untouchable, but there probably is a deal to be made for everybody out there. Some are more likely than others, though.
Beltre at the plate, and here's a flashback to last night. That first home run off Feldman, the second was the game winner off Frankie Francisco. Beltre had come into that game having gone 3 weeks in between home runs. He didn't even go 3 hours in between home runs last night. Again, Seattle a 7-5 win. This is not a guy on whom you want to be 2-0. Sitting fastball, he's troubled. Jamie Wright heeds the wisdom, makes it 1-1. Beltre's been in check tonight. Double play ball in the first, fielder's choice in the 5th, also a flyout tonight. Well, that ball's really moving on Jamie Wright. 10 of 16 pitches now have gone out of the strike zone. Two and two with 2 on, 2 out. Crowd of about 20,000 here tonight. Seeing if Jamie Wright can hold the lead here for the Rangers.
That's a 90-mile-an-hour cutter that Jamie throws. Excellent pitch. Yeah, you want to stop it right here.
Not yet. Beltre will foul it into this crowd, a sign-wielding crowd. That ball hung up there a bit. We'll see if Jamie can drive one down in the zone and take care of the dangerous Adrian Beltre. You bet. Beltre out on strikes, and the Rangers are out of the inning. Seattle's made it a ball game, though. 3 runs in. 9-6 Texas. Not exactly an urgent news bulletin that there's a bunch of runs being scored in this ballpark when it's 99 degrees, but actually we've dipped down to 92 degrees now.
The Rangers are not only leading in the score 9-6, they're leading in balls hit off the good part of the bat too. They've hit some balls hard, especially early in the game. Seattle's hit a few balls hard, but they found a lot of holes with some ground balls too. Some of the hardest hit balls were in the first inning that went for outs. Ichiro hit a hard ball that Chris Davis made a nice play on to end an inning, take a run away. Banez hit that bullet up the middle that deflected off Mendoza's glove, turned into an out instead of a base hit. And then Beltre ended the first inning with a hard hit ball to shortstop for a double play. I think probably 2 or 3 of the hardest hit balls Seattle's hit today have been outs. Reed hit a ball that Josh ran down in left center field. It was hit hard too.
In the summer of 4-3 for David Murphy tonight. 4 ground balls to the second baseman. We go to Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Josh. Sign contest continues tonight. You also can come and get all painted up like these guys from Urban. What was your 2 main objectives coming tonight?
Ready for the Rangers to win the game. Win the sign contest, baby. Woo!
All right, little enthusiastic here. How long did it take you guys to get painted up here?
About 10 minutes. That's all it takes, baby. Woo!
There you go. So a few front runners maybe tonight. Okay, this guy's pretty energetic. All right, good enough. All right, thank you, guys.
That was probably a little more than that young lady on the right wanted to get right there.
You got your taser by any chance there, Jim?
What's that, Josh?
Nothing.
What?
No.
You want to ask him a question?
No. Is there any Red Bull left? All right, Marlon Byrd batting. Yeah, the sign contest / paint yourself up contest in full bloom at the ballpark this homestand. And your next chance to, well, do what that guy just did is tomorrow night, 7:05. It's a $1 hot dog night tomorrow night. What do you get if you paint your hot dog? Any special compensation there or not so much?
I don't know, but they wouldn't give away a hot dog for $1 that you had that day with Kobe. Where was that?
Chicago, the 2-footer?
Yeah, no way that thing's $1.
That'll be the bargain of the century. We ate about 1/24th of that 2-foot hot dog. 3-1 the count to Marlon Byrd. Dollar Dogs tomorrow and the Dr. Pepper Autograph Wednesday for kids 13 and under before the Rangers take on Seattle. Check out your Ford leaderboard. We were just talking about home runs, and the Rangers have hit 130 of them. Only those Chicago White Sox have more in the AL. Bird's got a home run tonight. 3-run shot. In a 9-6 ball game, you can say that's obviously a difference maker. The night that Carlos Silva went only 2 1/3 for Seattle, their reliever Roy Corcoran's gone longer than that. Bird, one of the guys that drove Silva from the game. Marlon's going to send another one in the air, this time to center. That's for out number 2. Mark Lowe getting ready in the bullpen. Got to give Corcoran some credit. He's kept the Mariners at least in it. It's been a big night for UT Arlington if Mark Lowe gets in the game, huh? John Lackey, who spent a year at UTA, almost had a no-hitter tonight. Ryan Roberts out of UTA has been called up, and he's in a Ranger uniform tonight. We might just be seeing Mark Lowe come out of that Seattle bullpen. high fly ball from Davis. And the center fielder, Reed, will make the call and the catch to end the 6th inning. 9-6 Rangers on my 27th. At the ballpark, it's the Rangers leading Seattle by the count of 9-6 tonight. It's been a lively crowd all night tonight. Well, they're kind of settled down, but we are just getting going here in the top of the 7th. Jamie Wright to Jose Lopez. Lopez, LaHare, and Cairo. That's the charge for Jamie Wright here in the 7th inning. Luis Mendoza went the first 5 1/3 tonight. It's a Seattle team that is playing their 34th game now under Jim Riggleman. He took over for John McLaren about 5-6 weeks ago. Lopez hits it high and well to left. Only the 3rd home run that Jamie Wright's given up all year, and Seattle's back to within 9-7. That's a hot hitter right now, 16-game hitting streak, and Lopez keeps Seattle in range.
Pitch down and in that he hit probably first row of left field seats. But he's been swinging the bat well tonight. He's hit a lot of balls foul down the 3rd baseline that he's hit hard. Been right on a lot of pitches tonight. Some of them have been pretty good pitches, really. And generally when a guy's hot, he is hitting some good pitches. He's hitting your mistakes, and he's also hitting some pretty good pitches as well.
Well, the Rangers in recent history against Seattle, they've been burned by Mariners second baseman. Look at Frankie Francisco getting ready in the bullpen. I guess I'm speaking of Brett Boone, noted Ranger killer from earlier in this decade. He of the Booney bat flip. Not really missing that, to be honest with you, but from Brett Boone to Jose Lopez, a couple of guys at that second base position that can handle that bat pretty well. And now LaHare with liftoff to right field. This is 9-8. Jamie Wright had allowed only 2 home runs all season. He allows 2 within a stretch of 4 pitches here in the 7th inning. And LaHare hits his first 2 big league home runs here in Arlington last night and tonight.
LaHare put a charge in that ball. He's got 3 hits tonight, scored 3 runs.
Up from AAA, where he was hitting .260 and right by the I Love Salty sign. The pride of Worcester, Mass. Makes this game 9-8. 5 unanswered runs for Seattle. Ron Washington will come out. Jamie just didn't have the real good stuff tonight. The Mariners, who hit 4 home runs yesterday. Remember, they're not really known as a home run hitting team. They've got 2 here in the 7th inning now. And the Rangers go to the bullpen, get Frankie Francisco. 9-8 on my 27. That's Jamie Wright in the Ranger dugout. He is left so that Frankie Francisco can come in. That call to the bullpen brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Seattle has fought its way back into this thing. It is now 9-8 in the top of the 7th inning. There's still nobody out. Miguel Cairo about to bat. And not a bad season at all for Frank Francisco. 3.3 ERA.
Well, Frankie came into the ball game last night and threw the ball well. He pitched 2 innings, struck out 3, gave up a home run though. Beltre hit a fastball, but dead center field against him. Other than that one pitch, he really threw the ball well last night.
Some of you might remember Miguel Cairo as a guy that used to hold the bat like he was in some Ken Burns documentary from baseball back in like the 19-teens. The split-handed batter. He doesn't do that anymore. There was daylight between the left hand and the right hand. Cairo, a guy who was an unlikely playoff hero a few years ago. That with the Cardinals when Scott Rowland got hurt. Cairo was a guy that stepped in at one point, was 7 for 7 in the playoffs. He'd had 1 3-hit game all year. Then in the postseason, he had 2 3-hit games back to back. Not so fast, Miguel. 3-1.
Definitely a strike. Sometimes those balls don't look like strikes low like that. But that one was definitely on the corner. Right there, same pitch.
3-2.
They might have touched each other. Not quite.
Pretty close.
That one was even more of a strike. Cairo taken all the way right there, trying to work a walk to start.
Line shot, second base. Down goes Cairo.
Down goes Cairo.
Down goes Cairo. How's that?
That's better than what I said.
Who's that really? Frazier, right? Down goes
Frazier.
We'll get you to a shot of Josh Frazier, our bullpen catcher for the Rangers out there. No relation, I don't believe, to Joe Frazier. There is ball 1 to Jamie Burke. A fly ball, shallow right, and Ian Kinsler's got it. There's the pride of Rockwall, Texas, Josh Frazier. A man that certainly wears a lot of hats when it comes to this Rangers ball club. He's the bullpen catcher, that we know. But he's also a batting practice pitcher. Pretty good one, according to the guys. And he runs the video room for the Rangers. When the guys want to go in and check out the latest DVDs of their at-bats or the pictures of their pitches, that's Josh coordinating all of that. And he plays a pretty mean guitar, so
he's a
quadruple threat. Josh
Have you done
Frazier.
any jamming with him?
No, Josh is more of a, I think more country than.
You ought to branch out a little bit, do some country yourself.
I know. I like it.
Texas you're in now.
I understand.
You do a little Willie Nelson up there.
Very little, yeah, very little. All right. Marlon Byrd makes that catch, and Frankie Francisco gets things under control, getting 3 outs, and now 9-8. We send it to our studio for the Toyota Truck Game Break. That KG Eric Hurley brought to you by Dodge, your Texas truck stop. Never did get our Hurley versus Burley matchup in Chicago. We'll have to wait on Hurley Burley. Hopefully Eric's good to make his next scheduled start. He said he wasn't hurt, just tentative, really, on that game in Oakland.
That's understandable for a young pitcher. Probably hasn't been hurt before. Didn't want to get hurt badly. Knew he was coming back from some tenderness, and just subconsciously wasn't letting go of the ball because in the back of his mind he just wasn't 100% confident that he would pitch pain-free. I think he probably learned a little bit of a lesson there.
Sean Green is in the ball game here for Seattle. And Gerald Laird says, welcome to the proceedings.
Gerald is coming back swinging that bat, boy.
3 for 4 when he got back into it in Oakland. He's got 3 hits tonight, and he's been hit by a pitch, so on base 4 times.
All 3 hits have been smashes, too. 2 line shots just like that to center field, and then a line shot that short hopped the right field wall over Ichiro's head. Every time he swung the bat tonight and put the ball in play, it's been a rope.
Well, the bottom of the order here, Tag, the 8 and 9 guys, Laird and Vasquez, are a combined 6 for 6. And the hit by pitch. Now the bunt from Vasquez will follow him down that first base line, foul. It's a night when Kinsler and Young, the double play tandem, the All-Stars atop the order, have gone a combined 0 for 7. But the thump has come at the bottom of the order. Laird and Vasquez, a combined 6 for 6.
Pretty nice year for Ramon.
A year that started with that ill-advised mustache that he tried to grow out in spring training that has followed him everywhere this year, because that was picture day.
When you look at the numbers Ramon has put up this year, it's upped his career numbers significantly. I think put him in probably a slightly different light in the eyes of baseball people who might have looked at him strictly as a utility player. I think he's played well enough to be looked at as a little bit better than that right now. Definitely solidified a position in the big leagues this year, that's for sure.
Now Ramon against Seattle, I mean, there is a little bit extra there to prove to this particular organization that he is more than just some guy. When Ramon was coming up in the Mariners organization, he was kind of stuck at AAA for a while, and they tried to tell him, hey, you know, Edgar Martinez was stuck in AAA for a long time. He was patient and things worked out, but Ramon saw a lot of guys get promoted past him. He's going to bunt with 2 strikes, and it doesn't go well. Boy, a night where Ramon's been on base 3 times, but he's also made 2 errors and can't get the bunt down. And to be completely honest, Tag, this is just one of the sloppier all-around games. Not just the Rangers, but just, I mean, in general tonight. There have been 5 errors in this game. It's 9-8. Not the crispest, if that's even a word, ball game here in 2008.
No, you're definitely right on that. But the good part is 6 more outs, and Rangers do have a chance to win a ball game. And fortunately, they got a big early lead, scored 5 in the 3rd. I'd like to add a few to it, though, just to be a little safer.
This one will not hang in a frame at the Louvre. But you're right. I mean, the important thing is get a win. And for Kinsler, we'll see if he can get a hit. 0 for 4 tonight. We've been so spoiled by Ian. He's had so few of these kind of nights, especially at home this year. Leads the league in hitting and in runs scored, among other things. Swinging 3-0.
Ibanez hit a home run last night, swinging 3-0. A line shot right center field. Was out of here in a flash.
Laird scrambles back to first. That's the correct scouting report. That is not a base clogging catcher over there. That's a catcher with wheels.
Well, Gerald has had to use his wheels in the game tonight. He's legged out a double with a head first slide. He's gone first to third with a slide. He scored on a base on a double.
Kinsler hits into a double play. Just a forgettable night at the office for Ian tonight. And Sean Green is out of the inning. The Rangers clinging to a lead of 9-8 at the end of 7th. Texas 9, Seattle 8 as we get to the 8th, and Eddie Guardado, who has assumed the role of Mr. 8th inning for the Rangers. Now it's the 8th inning. He's Mr. 8th inning. This just makes sense.
Mr. 8th inning with a lead, and the Rangers do have a 1-run lead. And on paper, it's Eddie's 8th inning and CJ's 9th inning if Eddie can hold them right here. And the Rangers don't have a big bottom of the 8th. Big bottom of the 8th might get someone else into the game. It wouldn't be a save situation.
Eddie had that one misstep in Chicago. The Rangers lost a 10-8 game. But other than that, over the last, say, 2 months, you talk about steady Eddie. With Joaquin Benoit kind of not having even close to the year he wanted to have in 2008. Eddie Guardado has been a great find for the Rangers. The consistency they hoped to have with Benoit, they have found instead with Eddie.
Well, last year's Joaquin Benoit sure would have made a huge difference to the bullpen this year to have one more guy down there late in the ballgame.
Strike one to Ichiro, who's got a couple of hits tonight. As a professional baseball player, those are career hits 3,000 and 3,001. And a lot of attention from the Japanese media about all that. Not that the Japanese media is new to the Ichiro thing. Though that had kind of died down the last couple of years. You know, the whole curiosity of how would Ichiro do in the States. Obviously, that was at high ebb when he first got here in 2001. Then the Mariners started winning. So the Japanese media kind of stayed right where they were in 02 and 03 and 04. Ichiro almost twisted himself into a pretzel on that one. One out in the 8th inning.
Let's see what he got him with. Looked like a sidearm slider that just stayed up and in. Ichiro couldn't catch up with it.
And he is auto or out. We have very rudimentary pocket Japanese tag. Boru is ball. Sutoriko is strike. Auto.
You could pretty much make up any word you want and tell me that. I'm not going to disagree with you.
No, I can count to 5 too if you'd really like to hear that. But
you could quote the Gettysburg Address and I wouldn't know.
Willie Bloomquist pinch hitting, and he bangs one in the left. That tying man is on. Raul Ibanez will come to the plate.
Willie Bloomquist's a good utility player for the Mariners. He can play essentially everywhere on the field. Runs well. Plays well enough to play center field or shortstop.
Raul Ibanez is subject of many trade rumors this week. He's got 5 home runs in his last dozen ball games to get to a season total of 15. Swings from his heels right there. He's down 0-2. Ibanez does have 3 career hits against his former teammate Eddie Guardado. 3 for 8. Lefty versus lefty. Got him. Ibanez way out in front.
Well, he got 2 pretty good hitters right there on strikes. He got Ichiro, he got Ibanez.
Now he's got to get Beltran.
Threw him that sidearm slider that just kept on going outside. More of a cutter, I guess you'd say. Out of the strike zone, but got Ibanez to chase it. Threw that same pitch to Ichiro, kind of backed up and stayed up and in. Fooled Ichiro a little bit, got him all tied up.
Runner goes, and a ground ball sharply at third. Vasquez has made 2 errors tonight, but boy, he was right there when the Rangers needed him. Eddie Guardado shouts out an attaboy right there for Vasquez. Attaboy yourself, Eddie. Nice job. 9-8 Rangers. Bottom of the 8th coming up on line 27. That is how to accomplish what we're talking about. Michael Young, the batter. 9-8 ball game. The Rangers trying to put it away here in the bottom of the 8th. They've got 3 All-Stars coming up. Young, Hamilton, and Bradley. Really a weird night with the All-Stars, at least Kinsler and Young, combining to go 0 for 8. But the Rangers have 6 hits from the 8 and 9 guys tonight, Laird and Vasquez. Also a big night for Milton Bradley tonight. Young with a ground ball to short. Bettencourt gobbles it up, throws out Michael Young. Again, Michael playing with that fractured ring finger. Toughing it out tonight. Rangers and Mariners have at it tomorrow at 7:05. Vicente Padilla will go in search of win number 13. Josh Hamilton here going in search of home run number 25. The guy that battled Josh in the home run derby, Justin Morneau, is Minnesota Twins leading the White Sox 6-4 in the 8th inning right now. Jim Riggleman's coming to the mound. They've had a lefty loosening out there.
It must be Jimenez. Saw Jimenez in last night's ball game.
Now in a 9-8 game, they want to go lefty-lefty, try to neutralize Josh. We got the switch hitting Milton Bradley. Left-hand batting Murphy after that.
Catalinato was on deck, so I don't know if Milton's going to be able to hit or not. They might not be Catalinato, it might be somebody else, but Cat was actually in the on-deck circle, so we'll see. Maybe Milton's got a nagging injury right now.
9-8 Texas. We're back right after this. Cesar Jimenez comes into the ball game. As you said, Tag, we saw him yesterday, and the Seattle Mariners like him just fine. You look at that ERA, and you get a pretty good idea of why they like Cesar Jimenez.
Ryan Roberts is going to be on deck instead of Catalinato hitting for Bradley with the lefty in there. Ryan Roberts get his first Ranger at bat.
This has got to be the most tattoos in successive at bats in Texas Ranger history. Josh Hamilton and Ryan Roberts. Hamilton, base hit right center. As Ryan Roberts comes up, this is quite a time for him to make his Texas Rangers debut. Milton Bradley earlier tonight. You see him kind of reaching right there, huh?
Yeah, it looks like he reaches in the front of his left leg. Definitely favoring it as he went into first base.
So a guy who grew up watching the Rangers play, a guy that went to college just a couple exits down the road at UT Arlington, Ryan Roberts. Tom, you mentioned 2 of those 8 home runs at AAA this year in 1 inning just the other day at Colorado Springs. He is quickly behind 0-2. Family and friends very, very interested in how this goes for Ryan Roberts. Now, Ryan has been in the big leagues before. Part-time duty with the Blue Jays. He was 1 for 13 as a Blue Jay 2 years in a row, both in 06 and 07. He is out in front here, and he strikes out. Now, L.D. Bell, though, is represented here tonight. The one-time Blue Raider, now wearing the Ranger blue.
We saw Jimenez last night in the ball game. He's got a real good changeup, and it was set up well with 3 fastballs on the inner part of the plate, one a little bit off the plate. That really set that last pitch up. Fastball slider? No, changeup. If I keep mentioning pitches, I'll eventually get to the right one. Down and away.
Screwball, knuckle curve. The old dipsy-do. 1-0 the count to Murphy. He's hit 4 ground balls to second base tonight. Rather ungainly line score for the Rangers right now. 9 runs, 15 hits, 4 errors. 8-13-1 for Seattle. C.J. Wilson is ready to go. Has already warmed up. One and 2 now to Murphy. And as you look ahead to the 9th inning, maybe their hottest hitter, got to be their hottest hitter, Jose Lopez, will be leading things off. And if he's not the hottest hitter, the guy after Lopez probably is, Brian LaHare. Jimenez on 1 and 2. Instead, will toss to first. We mentioned the Rangers and Mariners play again tomorrow, 7:05. Padilla and Batista. That's your pitching matchup. The Rangers guy with 12 wins, the Mariners guy with 11 losses. Down the left field line, it's a long run. And Ibanez making that run, lost his cap, but hung on to the baseball. And with that, the Mariners stay within 1 run going to the 9th inning here in Arlington. C.J. Wilson, it is your time, my friend. It is 9-8 Texas. Very interesting ball game tonight. A game the Rangers really want to have in the win column in about 5 or 10 minutes. You got the Rangers trying to hang in that playoff race. A lot of teams say they are wild card worthy, and the Rangers would like to be one of them. C.J. Wilson is going to come on here and try to close things out, a 9-8 ball game. We note that Kenji Jojima has come out on deck. Jojima's the guy that hit C.J. up for that 3-run game-tying home run back in May. And before you even worry about Jojima, you absolutely have to worry about Jose Lopez. He of the 16-game hitting streak. And the very first pitch is into right field. His 3rd hit of the game. The tying man is on. And again, Jojima back in May launched that home run just over the scoreboard and left off of C.J. Wilson. He'll have a chance here to do some damage.
The ball's up and away, hit it right off the end of the bat.
C.J. Wilson was on the mound this past road trip in Chicago. He got greeted by Carlos Quentin a little bit more rudely than that even. Might remember Quentin hit one for a home run. Jojima looking to bunt. At least showing the bunt initially, but if they do decide to take that bunt off. As we said, Jojima has a fairly recent history that is positive for him off of C.J.
That might have been just a case of Jojima taking a pitch, faking a bunt. I don't think they'll have him bunt here, but I could be wrong.
That's one of those games where the Rangers, if they happen to let it get away, I mean, they'll look back at a dozen different things, including 4 errors that they've made tonight, but they've still got the lead for now, 9-8, and there is the bunt. It's popped up. Laird coming back, diving, couldn't get it.
He was bunting, and it almost backfired. Fans appreciate that effort. Boy, Gerald has been all over the field tonight, running the bases, blocking balls, and diving for balls. Great try right here.
You know, it's funny, Tag. I mean, even with the Ranger All-Stars, Kinsler, Young, Hamilton, Bradley, and you've got a season where Padilla's going for 13 wins already. All the Ranger catchers have had games. Max Ramirez, Laird, obviously. Taylor Teagarden had that game in Minnesota. Salto Lamacchia has been the hero a couple times. There have been some big efforts, some big nights from 4 different Ranger catchers this year. A lot of times the most anonymous position out there. The one guy that's wearing the mask, you don't get as good a look at Gerald Laird as you do the other guys on the field.
Now, most of the time on the road, you probably wouldn't bunt to tie the game. But I think in this particular case, what Jim Riggleman is saying is the Rangers have used all their late inning guys. Wright, Francisco, Guardado, Wilson. And so if the game is tied, even though it's on the road, and the Rangers would get the last at bat, they've still got their late inning guys ready to pitch, whether it's J.J. Putz or whether it's Brandon Morrow or whether it's Arthur Rhodes. So at this point in the game, their bullpen is in a little bit better shape than the Rangers. And so you might consider, and they do consider, bunting in a 1-run game on the road to try to tie the game. You tie the game, the Rangers still get the last at bat. Well, a lot of times on the road, a manager, instead of bunting and try to play for 1 run, you'll play for 2 runs to try to take the lead. But in this particular case, the way the bullpens have been used favors the Mariners if the game was tied.
Chop ball foul, so now forget about the bunt. 2-2.
Now hit into a double play and take care of everything.
It's a high ERA for C.J. Wilson this year, but the saves percentage actually is pretty good. Ranger fans getting behind C.J. Wilson here. C.J. hits him. 2 on, nobody out. Now again, aesthetically, this thing is not exactly a supermodel tonight. The Rangers with the 4 errors. They've hit a couple batters. Jojima, boy, totally hobbled here. But keep in mind, they have not pinch hit for the catcher with Jojima. They're pinch hit for the DH with Jojima, so it's not like they have some sort of catching tragedy right here. Jamie Burke is still in the game at this point.
They still got Jeff Clement on, on the bench anyway, so they've got catching covered.
We need a pinch runner.
Well, the other extra man they've got is Jose Vidro. They could put a pitcher in there if they wanted to.
As the go-ahead man. You got the tying man down at second now.
They probably got a pitcher or 2 that run pretty well. And I just heard Riggleman yell, "We've got a pitcher running." So you've got the luxury, because it's the DH, of putting anybody in there right now. You put your fastest runner in there as the go-ahead run, and when that at bat, if it does come around again, then you can always pinch hit for the guy that's doing the running. Probably not totally prepared for this pinch running experience.
Will it be Jared Washburn, who actually has pinch run before? He needs a belt before he gets out there. Don't want to, you know, take off for second base and have your pants fall down.
I don't think I've ever seen a guy run onto the field putting his belt on before. That is a new experience. See a guy maybe come out and get a jacket if a pitcher got on base in the ball game.
The manager takes off his belt and says, "Here, you'll need this, son."
We're about the same size.
Pick me out a winner, Bobby.
That'd be good if Lou Piniella was still managing the Mariners. You'd have to wrap that thing around twice.
So you've got a beltless manager now. If that's of any consequence. And here is Miguel Cairo. Definitely a bunt situation here. Laird thought about third. Instead, he'll lob to first.
Well, they had the wheel play on. That's the one where the third baseman charges. The shortstop goes to third. But unfortunately, the bunt was effective enough to where there was no play at third base.
So Washburn, the go-ahead man, with Jim Riggleman's belt down there at second base. The tying man at third with one out. Now what do? Do you go at Jamie Burke? You got first base open. Betancourt on deck. Burke, a one-time Ranger farmhand. Here's C.J. Wilson dealing. Strike one.
Well, what you're doing right here is you're going for the strikeout. Got the infield in at the corners, back in the middle. If he hits a ground ball, it ties the game. If it's to second or short, if he hits it to third or first, you have a play at the plate if they try to score. And I would think the Mariners would have the contact play on where both runners are going on contact. You get the guy at the plate fine. The guy at second still ends up at third.
On the ground, foul. 0-2. So if there's a strikeout pitch in C.J. Wilson's arsenal,
now's the time to throw it.
This is it. Again, that's a pitcher running out there at second. Jared Washburn, guy that's been rumored to have been traded by now. Not only is he still a Mariner, he's the go-ahead run in the ninth inning. To third base, Vasquez stops it. Only play to first, and that's thrown away for the fifth Ranger error of the night. Here comes Washburn with Riggleman's belt. He will score. At third base is Jamie Burke. And an incredible comeback for Seattle tonight. To the count. Burke just kind of tops it to Vasquez, who commits his third error this evening. And Seattle goes ahead 10-9.
In a similar situation now, you only have to play the infield in now. You can't give up another run. But man on third base and only one out.
Well, it all started with the very first pitch thrown by C.J. Wilson. Hit hard in the right field by Lopez.
And probably the pitch that hurt the most, well, not maybe hurt the most, but definitely hurt, was the one he hit Jojima with. You've got a man on first, chance to get a double play.
Yep.
Instead, the ball hit him.
Well, yeah, you hit a guy with two strikes, and in what has been obviously a very weird ball game anyway, this is just a capper this inning. Got to be the first game Jim Riggleman has managed without a belt in a long time, and he's got a pitcher running. He's had a catcher get hit by a pitch. He's got a 10-9 lead for his ball club though right now, and they're looking to squeeze. Laird ends up with the ball, and the Rangers will tag out Burke. So that absolutely goes the Rangers' way. They needed a break as they were trying to squeeze in run number 11. That play exploded on Seattle. Great job by Laird.
Yeah, and it was a buntable ball too. Kind of jabbed at it and missed it.
So now the base is clear on a night where the Rangers are going to have to rally. Betancourt trying to drop it into right field, but there's Bird. And now you look to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rangers need 1 to tie, 2 to win. Trying to overcome 5 errors tonight. 10-9 Seattle. The Rangers, who have had to overcome a lot this year. It's a game tonight that's kind of a microcosm of all that. They've got to find a way to come back now on J.J. Putz. Now, at this time last year, Tag, this would have been insurmountable. J.J. Putz had an ERA of .50, not 4.50. It's been a year on and off the DL for J.J. Putz. The opponent's batting average is about 150 points higher this year than a year ago. So we're saying there's a chance.
Brandon Morrow saved the game last night, but he threw 30 pitches a few days ago and then pitched in last night's game. He has been getting a lot of the save opportunities. It's nice to have a guy like Putz in reserve as your setup guy that's been there before.
This was a game the Rangers led 9-3 in the top of the 6th inning. Seattle has scored the last 7 runs. The last 2 in a very weird way. Marlon Byrd, right field. It gets down, base hit. And now the Rangers with a chance in the bottom of the 9th inning. Chris Davis is coming up. Now keep in mind, J.J. Putz has allowed only 1 home run all year. It was in the 9th inning against the Texas Rangers. Josh Hamilton got him back in game 2 of the season. Got another power hitting lefty, kind of like Josh Hamilton, coming up. "16 Ranger hits to the 15 on the board for Seattle. Rangers trying to find a way. One ball, 1 strike, and J.J. Putz, a guy that just had spectacular numbers a year ago, was always a guy that could throw real hard, and then a couple of years ago learned that new grip for his splitter from, of all people, Eddie Guardado. And that's when things really accelerated for J.J. Putz. That's the out pitch, the split finger fastball. Eddie Guardado's called it the closer's continuum, a merry-go-round kind of. Guardado learned it from Rick Aguilera. Putz learned it from Guardado. We'll see if Chris Davis is on it here on 2-1. Yes, he is. Base hit, center field. Bird thought about going to third. He'll pull up and stop at second, and here come the Rangers. What's curious now is that Vasquez moves on deck. There is nobody in this ballpark that wants a shot to be the hero right now more than Vasquez.
That was a pretty good pitch that Chris just hit. That was a 94-mile-an-hour sinker down and out of the strike zone. He golfs it into center field.
Wow.
That thing wasn't even close to being a strike.
That's the pitch we're talking about, and that's a wedge that Davis hit.
That pitch is coming in at 94 miles an hour. Pretty good movement on that ball.
Well, Gerald Laird has had a big night tonight. 3 hits, and he's been hit by a pitch. Beltre in at third. Thinking bunt from Gerald Laird. That's the other thing that would be pretty ironic, Tag. If the Rangers get this done by a fundamental like a bunt in this situation, it's been a night where the fundamentals have kind of escaped them for much of the evening. They've got an absolute chance here now to accomplish some fundamentals and put themselves in the position to win a ball game.
count goes to 2-0. Ron had taken the bunt off on the 1-0 pitch. You have to anticipate a fastball to hit right here. Gerald's had 3 hard hit balls in the game, 2 shots to center and 1 to right. And if he wasn't bunting 1-0, I doubt very much he's going to be bunting here 2-0, even though the Mariners aren't sure. Beltre and Cairo still weigh in at third and at first base. He is bunting.
He is bunting, and it's a beaut. To third. Oh, they call it out. I can't believe Puts even tried it. And a close call at third base. Nobody's out to argue it.
There's a close play, but it looked like the right call. And the bunt was just a little bit too close to the pitcher. If he gets it down the line a little bit, he's probably got a great chance to beat it out.
So now it is Vasquez with 2 on, 1 out. A 3-error night for Ramon. That can all change here.
Well, that's a close play.
And a nice stretch, huh, by Beltre?
Tough to tell, but it went against the Rangers.
Vasquez, you might remember back in May, had a game-winning walk-off home run against these Seattle Mariners. Trying to duplicate that. Instead, he fouls it back. 1-1. That was a 13-12 win, that one for the Rangers. That too was just an odd game, and the Rangers simply had the last big swing. Chipped into the crowd, 1-2. You've got Kinsler on deck. Now Vasquez has 3 hits tonight, 2 of them to knock in runs. And again, he admits to carrying a bit of a chip on his shoulder when he faces Seattle, the team that drafted him and gave him a little bit of a chance, but not a lot. He's already beaten his old mates once this season. And again, with just 1 out, he doesn't have to be the hero here. You've got Kinsler, the league's leading hitter, on deck. Vasquez hits it in the air, right center field. Ichiro can't get it! 1 run is in. Vasquez looking to be the hero. Bank it. The Rangers win it. 11-10. You can't keep a good man down. Against his former team, he's the hero for a 2nd time this year. Another walk-off winner for Vasquez.
Well, a tremendous offense. The best offense in baseball can overcome a lot in a ball game, and this was a perfect example of that. The Rangers gave up 15 hits, made 5 errors, had a few fundamental lapses during the ball game, but the offense got 11 runs and 18 hits and probably wasn't done if the game didn't end. And just an example of out-pounding the other team in this ball game.
10 for Seattle. It was not enough. 11 for the Rangers. And the guy that wears number 12 has made the Rangers a winner tonight. I think Ramon Vasquez just willed himself to get this done.
I think he did too.
He's made 3 errors tonight, but he ends up with 4 hits tonight. That last one chasing home 2. The Rangers having given up 2 in the top of the 9th. Ramon wins it. 11-10 your final.
That is definitely one of the more remarkable wins and unusual games of the year right there.
Well,
big lead looked like a simple win. Then it looked like a blown opportunity to win a game. And Ramon, with one swing of the bat, turns it into a celebration.
That's a man whose emotions were in a popcorn popper tonight.
That is great, boy. I'm happy for Ramon.
On these never say die Rangers, never did peter out tonight.